Hey Ren,
Yeah, bro.
tell me a bit about your story? How did you encounter Jesus and stuff?
How did I encounter Jesus? So I basically started my recovery journey from addiction 2017.
Right.
It got to a point in my life where I was dependent on alcohol and drugs, and so I embarked on the 12-step journey through Cocaine Anonymous, which was my first real introduction to getting a higher power in my life. That's
Right.
what they call it in recovery, a higher power. And I've spent my whole life, because I went to a Catholic school, and I kind of went against the system at that school. I had an experience where we were given the bread and the body and the blood of Christ in the church service when we first started the school, and I put the bread in my pocket, and I was pulled into the headmaster's office, and absolutely, I was screamed at and almost expelled for that. So I remember at that point in time, I had family stuff going on.
Have you still got it?
So the bread,
Yeah.
no, I gave it back. I put it on the desk, gave it back to them, and
He demanded it back.
yeah, they demanded it back.
Give it back.
Yeah, and there was a fierce Irish, what they called it, I called her matron, like one of the nurses there, and she was a staunch Irish Catholic woman. Like you could tell, she was from the old school class, and she just had it in for me from that moment. And so I rebelled against the whole part of it, and I also went through, like, my mum and dad breaking up and stuff. And when I reflect on it, I think, I was put into this Catholic school because my dad's Italian, and so he wanted me in a Roman Catholic school, but there was no follow-up, there was no care given. And so, I can imagine where I was in that point in my life, just like, what's the point? What? And so I went the route of going against all of it, and I never looked at it until I was 37 years old, where I was in recovery, and I'm being told that I need to get God in my life, and which was tough. But I was told, it could be anything from the sea, the universe, anything that's more powerful than me. And so I started on that journey, and I never really thought about it, never really looked at it, and I did everything else in recovery, but the God part was just, it was what it was. I never really gave it much time, and because of that, I realised, I kept relapsing, I kept going in and out, and I just couldn't seem to get hold of my addiction and stuff, and then when I came back in this time to recovery 3 years ago, I finally surrendered to the fact that I couldn't, ever take a drink or drug again, and that it was going to kill me eventually. I started back in the program, and I started working with a sponsor who I discovered a year after that he was a Christian and went to church. He's a mate of mine from back in the school days, so we'd worked together for about a year on the steps, and he was sponsoring me. And one day I was chatting with him, and I kind of felt blocked off. I couldn't, I just felt like I wanted to cry. I felt like I wanted to purge something out of me, but I just couldn't. I just felt really like it was in here, but I couldn't get it out. And I told him about it, and he said to me, what are you up to on Sunday? And I said, I've got my daughter. And he said, well, come along and meet me at church, at City Coast Church in Hove. There's a kids' day there, bring your daughter along, and we can have a catch up. So I went along to my first service there. And that was where I had my first experience, seeing the worship, seeing people, singing and praising, and then the prayer, they just felt like something really overwhelmingly powerful in that room. And I cried for the first time in a long, long time, and I couldn't stop, just kind of let it out. And so that was my first encounter with Jesus, and I remember coming out of there, and I was really in conflict, because what I'd experienced was a great community, great people, loving, kind, caring, and it was just all very inclusive in that place. And so I came away quite overwhelmed, but I still had that prejudice. I still had that thought process of my past and Jesus. You know, whenever the word Jesus came up, it was just like, well, it felt a bit much. But I realised that I could either take the negative and roll with that, or I could keep going. So I kept going. I kept going back week after week, and I kept hearing a message that, you know, darkness, and I kept hearing a message that, you know, anything can be overcome with Jesus. And if I were to focus my thoughts and attention on Jesus and on God, and continue to do the right thing, that, you know, I would get the peace that I've always really wanted. And that started to happen. It started to happen for me. I started to feel my anxieties were quite high when I went there first time round, and that started to dissipate. I started to feel this. I started to get this. I started to get in my head that things were going to be all right.
Nice.
And whatever happened, that things were going to be okay. And I don't know if I've ever had that, really. And I don't think I've ever had the feelings that I've had since first going to church. I don't think I've ever had the security in my mind, you know, that feeling that whatever I go through, whatever I have to tackle, battle, that, you know, that God's got me, and wholeheartedly believe it.
You feel his presence with you?
I feel his presence with me. I feel that the last couple of weeks I've been a bit distant from it. I've been involving myself in some worldly stuff, watching some stuff that's pulled me away, and then I've tried to connect in and I felt distant. But I'm fully aware that, you know, I'm not being judged for that, and I kind of feel like he's just waiting there for me to meet him, and just to carry on that journey. And so I've had a kind of awakening around that recently, the last couple of days, and so I know what I need to do. I need to just get back to doing the good work, you know. And my calling, like I've been sharing today about the battle I've had with my recovery life and my church life, and my walk with Jesus, and feeling that I don't want to be reminded all the time of where I come from. But I understand that that's kind of the dark wanting to pull me back into an unsafe place, because what I felt 6 months ago was that my purpose and what God wants from me is to help other addicts, help other people that are struggling and that haven't had the experience that I've been able to have. And that, you know, and I really believe that if I can do it, then anyone can do it, and that it's really on offer. So I just need to get back to that place. You know, I need to get back to that connection, and realise that it's not bad. You know, being in recovery and having my story isn't a bad thing. It gives me the ability to share with people that may not listen to other Christians in their faith, people that haven't been where I've been, and to open the door and for them, and show them that Jesus is real, and he's loving, he wants the best for us, and that he's got our back, you know, and that he doesn't ask much from us, just to believe and share, and just to share his love and his wisdom.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at today.
Nice. Thanks for that.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Appreciate it.